Onyx 1-2 Mike Oscar, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Welcome to the Calm Cockpit Podcast Monday Briefing, your short reset for pilot well-being and high performance. We are doing these mini episodes every other week, and they are designed to fit into your real life, just to give you a short boost to start your day or your week off on a positive foot. Because sometimes we don't always need more effort. We just need little clear reminders, small nudges that help us stay steady, focused, and aligned with how we want to show up in the cockpit and, of course, in our everyday lives. Each Monday brief is going to cover one simple, practical idea you can apply immediately, something that supports your performance, but without adding more friction or more to your already very full to-do list. So let's get started with today's Monday briefing. I am one of the hosts, Geeta Brown. My wonderful co-host, John Niehaus, is off piloting the Gulf Stream to far-flung destinations. Just talked to him yesterday. He's having a great time. And we agreed that today's Monday briefing would be a great idea to dial into something really simple that is kind of common sense. But what is that phrase? Common sense is not so common. We're going to talk posture today, but hold up before you go, oh, posture, whatever, boring, sit up straight. Let me frame this for you a little bit. Americans spend something like $5,000 a year each on wellness, but I have found it's often the simple and free things that are missing. And these are usually the things that really move the needle towards us feeling better, happier, and finding freedom from chronic pain, stress, and that sort of like low energy dip we get in the afternoon. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Geeta Brown. I'm a midlife student pilot, hooray, flying a Piper Warrior here in Massachusetts. And I'm also a yoga educator and music educator. And I've really spent 30 plus years now teaching high performers how to improve their performance and how to improve their lives, but usually doing it by adding more ease instead of more struggle. And it's kind of that paradox that I want to explore today. So, okay, you've heard the thing, sit up straight. And most people, when they hear sit up straight, it introduces like a lot of tension and pressure in the body. And honestly, we're not really taught in school why it is important to have a long, tall, and relaxed posture, or even how to use it to our advantage, or quite honestly, even how to sit up straight. So I really want to demystify this a little bit today and teach you a 5-point reset that you can do. And also to really dial into a little bit with each one of those 5 points, why we use those 5 points for a little posture reset. So you really have the knowledge of why this tool works, and that lets you kind of adapt it and adjust it for yourself. So if you're someone who's ever had an energy dip in the middle of the day, or you've got like chronic tension headaches or TMJ issues, those are issues with the jaw, or you get that mid-afternoon energy slump, this can be a really beautiful thing to just add this practice into your day, and slowly over time, it starts to reset your whole system. So what is good posture? I'm going to talk about that for a moment. Then I'll lead us through probably 3 cycles of the 5-point reset so you can experience it directly for yourself. And then after that, I'll slowly go through the 5-point reset, going through each part and explain to you what's going on in the body, why it's important. Then maybe we'll do it like one more time before we wrap up. So who knows, maybe even by the end of this podcast, you'll be feeling a little more long and tall and free and ready to take on your day. So let's start really broad though. What is good posture? Good posture basically means that there is a natural alignment between the major movement points in the body. That's not a very technical definition, but think about like your feet, your hips, your spine, your shoulders, and your head. And when we are in this natural and relaxed alignment where the spine does have natural curves, a whole host of physical and biochemical reactions occur with more ease. Right now in all of our bodies, there is quite literally billions of processes going on completely beyond our conscious control. Beyond heart rate, we have cellular cleanup going on with cell death and cell sort of building, if you will. Again, not a very technical term, but then we also have lots of neurochemical activities. We have enzymes to help digest the food. And oh my goodness, we have synapses firing in the brain. So much is going on. And when we have a posture where we are slumped and tight and constricted, these natural processes do get inhibited over time. And over time, then we can experience that as pain. And pain is the body's way of getting our attention that something is amiss. But the good thing is when our physical architecture is stable and free, these processes naturally become more regulated. The body wants to go to homeostasis. It wants to go to this real balanced, easy place. And when we figure out how to give that to the body, all of the processes function in a more harmonious, easeful way. So, how do we find this though? Usually, if I start talking about or lecturing posture, I look around the room and I see people like pushing their chest forward and like sitting up tall. And man, that just is like a lot of overthinking and crazy body tension. I remember when I started to learn how to find my posture, I put myself in all kinds of weird positions thinking that I was sitting up taller. And I actually gave myself quite a bit of neck and back pain back in those days. So there's a simpler way to do it. And it's a conscious way of gently aligning these 5 points of the body and then introducing a bit of awareness and even relaxation to the area. And the relaxation to the area starts to allow our skeleton to move into its natural alignment without us pushing it into these unnatural positions. When we get out of the way a little bit, the body tends to self-correct itself. Let's just try it right now. Let's just do it a couple of times. You can stand, you can sit. There's no high set of expectations here. Let's keep it simple. If you're driving, you could try this. Just make sure you keep focusing on the road somewhat, because as you use your ability to have interoception, which is your brain's ability to sense inside the body, you may stop paying attention outside of yourself. So be wise. All right, we're going to slowly bring our awareness through these 5 points of the body. There's really nothing to do here other than to bring your awareness to these points. And at some point, I may introduce the concept to just release that area. All you have to do is send a mental message to that area to release. It doesn't actually matter if the area releases. That's the cool thing. You're just practicing the process of the mind-body connection here and getting a sense of what's going on. So wherever you are, get your feet aligned directly underneath your knees. This works standing or sitting. If you're standing, allow your hips to be sort of over your knees. And then if you're seated or standing, the shoulders floating over the hips. And you can sort of check, where are my ears? Are they forward of the shoulders? Are they back? And then let's move through the 5 points. Please bring the awareness to the bottoms of your feet. For just a moment in time, pick up and spread your toes and then set them back down. Feel the feet and send a mental message to the whole foot to release. Then bring awareness to the hips. Mental message to the hips to release. Then for the spine, trace your awareness from the base of the spine all the way up, each vertebra by vertebra, tracing up, feeling as your awareness touches each vertebra that there is space and length and even a little bit of release happening in between them. Trace all the way up through the mid-back, the upper back, through the neck, all the way to where the head and the spine connect in between the ears. Mental message to the shoulders, release. And to the crown of the head, imagining that there is a silken thread attached to the top of the head and it's just pulling you up. No effort on your part, just that silken thread pulling you taller. Go one more time through. The feet release. The hips release. The spine lengthens from the base, the mid-back, upper back. Spine lengthens through the neck, all the way to where it connects to the head. Allow those shoulders to release. And crown of the head raising up towards the sky. One more cycle through, awareness to the feet, hips, spine, shoulders, crown of the head. And in this place, release the muscles even more and allow the bony structure of the skeleton to do the work of holding you in this relaxed, easy posture. Let's go through each point now very briefly and just touch on why these 5 points are used to help reset, and use this 5-point reset to do so. So your feet throughout your lifetime will have done enough work to walk around the earth 4 times. And while walking, each step exerts tremendous pressure on your feet that far exceeds your body weight. And if you run, it can add up to a cumulative force of 500 tons per day on each foot. And there are more nerve endings per square centimeter in the foot than any other part of the body. This means your feet are constantly supplying you information about the surface you walk on, the rudder pedals that we're using. And misalignment of the feet, think of it like the foundation. If the feet are pigeon-toed, or you tend to walk heavy on the instep and not use the full base of the foot to walk on, those misalignments can often be traced then up the chain to knee pain, hip pain, back pain, and even neck pain. If you align the feet, the rest of the body will follow. It is quite literally your foundation. Your hips, releasing the hips, can actually be a great aid to improving the quality of your breath. The diaphragm is the muscle of respiration that sits directly sort of like at the base of your ribs, and it connects to the hips through fascia. Fascia is a continuum of collagen that contains loose and dense fibers. Think of it like a connective tissue, kind of like a saran wrap that permeates the whole human body, and it connects all of these structures. And the diaphragm is connected to the hips through this fascia. And very often, when we even subtly just send that mental message to release the hips, it can release the musculature that connects to the diaphragm, and in turn influence us to be able to take deeper breaths, which improves the oxygenation of our tissues and gives us a more alert state. When we trace the awareness up the spine, think that the spine is the central support structure between your brain and the rest of your body. Poor posture and constant constriction of the spine creates a lot of stress. It compresses your nerves, it restricts blood flow, and that highway between the brain and the body is not flowing smoothly and efficiently. Have you ever had that feeling like you tell the body to do something and it's slow to do it? Poor posture and misalignment can be part of why that is happening. Simply aligning can improve your body's ability to ascend and receive those neurological signals correctly, which in turn, then our reflexes are better, our organ functions is better. Isn't that great? Moving on to the shoulders, think about what sits under your shoulders, these wonderful lungs of ours. And our lungs don't just breathe forward and out. Usually when you say take a deep breath, people inhale and they push their chest forward, but your lungs go forward, they go sideways, they go down, and they expand into your back body as well. So by simply doing less and releasing the shoulders, you're allowing for the tidal volume, which is the amount of oxygen your lungs can take, to increase. Naturally, that will enhance your alertness, your awake state. Last thing, the head. That head raising up to the ceiling, like there's that silken thread connecting the top of the head and raising it on up, can relieve that compression of the cervical spine, helping to relieve those constant chronic tension headaches, issues with the temporal mandibular joint, the jaw, and that chronic text neck that we get, that slouch and hunch forward where we look like a great blue heron hunching or a crane hunched over. And that can in turn, opening that up can then improve that blood flow and oxygen flow to the brain, which in turn impacts the vagus nerve, which is a wonderful cranial nerve that runs from the brainstem down into the gut and is key for helping regulate our nervous system and helping regulate our response time as well. Let's repeat that 5-point awareness one more time. Bring awareness to the feet. Let all of those nerve endings receive your awareness. Release the feet. Release the hips. Trust that getting out of the way will help your body to reset. Trace your awareness up the spine. Feel as though you're stacking the vertebrae one on top of the other like sort of gold coins. And there's even space in between each vertebrae. Awareness to the shoulders. Mental message to the shoulders. Release. And crown of the head. Raising up slightly. And in the space, just sit for a moment. And think, where are some spots where you could try this in your day? My favorite times to do it is when I'm standing in line. Anytime I stand in a line, it's my trigger for my 5-point reset. Another favorite time that I do it is before I sit down to work or answer email. I just take literally 10 seconds. That's it to just do this. It's really helpful to find trigger times for you that are really positive or that repeat a lot for you. Just do it sprinkled throughout your day regularly and see what happens. That way, if you do it regularly, I have found then in moments when I'm having challenges, then it's a tool that I can use in a moment when I have a challenge. But if I hadn't practiced it before a challenge, it's kind of hard to tune into this if I'm like already kind of getting overworked or have a helmet fire while I'm flying. This is really sitting down to do the work on a daily basis, to just let your body and your posture be primed. There are so many studies done. I will not go into them here because this is a Monday brief and I want to keep it short. But there are so many studies done showing that a long, tall, engaged, and aligned posture, whether sitting or standing, has improved and noticeable outcomes in attention, focus, memory retention, motor skills, motor planning, and perceived uplifting mood. There's ample studies. If you want to science nerd out, drop me an email at calmcockpit@gmail.com. I'd be happy to send you those studies. There's plenty of research to prove that simply elongating our posture does great things for us. So try this a few times today. Find maybe a trigger that you do all the time, brushing the teeth, standing in line before working, and give it a whirl. See how it lands for you. If it works, great. If it doesn't, let it on go. Your body already knows how to find alignment. This is just a reminder. And the more often you return to it, the more a natural, steady, and focused performance will just arise for you. All right, before we wrap up, I just wanted to give a little celebratory bit of news. Recent Calm Cockpit podcast guest, Liz Booker, otherwise known as the Literary Aviatrix, just won an award. So Women in Aviation International had a Spirit of Service Award, and Liz Booker won this. She is a champion for women in aviation, a champion for literature in aviation, a tireless supporter of anyone who comes into her sphere. She is phenomenal, and I'm just absolutely thrilled that she won that Spirit of Service Award. Congratulations to Liz Booker for that. Well deserved. If you haven't checked out her work, please check out Literary Aviatrix. There are so many good books out there to read, and she has these beautiful curated lists and podcasts and all kinds of things that you can really dive into reading, all great things about aviation. So congratulations, Liz! Woo! Okay, my fellow pilots, that's it for this Monday briefing. Take a minute to practice this 5-point reset this week today. And as always, thank you for joining us. And until next time, fly smarter and stress less.